Welcome inside Studio H here in Los Angeles. On the end, our friend Chauncey Billups.
Billups.
That's right. Jalen Rose to my left here. And Paul Pierce.
The truth. The truth.
My name is Michelle Beadle, and we were not traded at the deadline. We are happy to still be here. Some of us we tried to get rid of. Anywho, we have an excellent Western Conference Saturday night tilt for you. We really do. I know I say that every time, but when superstar point guard Chris Paul was injured, Houston's other guard, James Harden, went historic, keeping Houston in the middle of the playoff picture with a scoring binge. He's riding the third longest streak of 30-point games in NBA history. And the only guy with longer streaks, Wilt Chamberlain. Remember that name, will ya? Because in OKC, the most prolific triple-double threat in modern NBA history, Westbrook has had a triple-double in 8 straight games. The all-time NBA record is 9 straight games by Wilt Chamberlain. So the Warriors are the 2-time defending champs, and they obviously have a front line full of talent, more than ever, actually, this year. And the Rockets almost had them last year. Thunder didn't come close. I want to ask you, Jalen, is it Houston? Yeah, I'm going to start with you. Is it Houston or is it OKC that you view as the bigger threat to Golden State?
Right now, I'm going to say OKC just because of their defensive prowess. And they have so many guys that have interchangeable parts that can do a lot of switching. And young players that can make open threes. Grant is an improved shooter. Ferguson is knocking down shots. Adams can be an anchor down low. I like what they've done to build their roster. Paul George has emerged as an MVP candidate, and Russ has a chance to average a triple-double for the 3rd straight year. And you know he's going to be a wild card going against the Warriors and going against his former teammate Kevin Durant.
I agree, and I agree with your assessment. For the very reason that you picked the Thunder, that's the reason why I pick them.
Yep.
They have an identity on the defensive end of the floor, and if you look at the way the Rockets challenged the Warriors last year, it was really with their defense. Physicality, grit. They really changed the face of the series with that kind of mentality. Well, that's how the Thunder play every single night.
I wanted to say OKC, but I think really it is Houston because the way they've been playing without Clint Capella, without Chris Paul, and with James Harden playing at a historic level, I think once they're healthy, they're going to still be the biggest threat. If James Harden can keep this up, they can get something from CP. You know, their role guys are starting to blend in very well. Eric Gordon, of course, Gerald Green, P.J. Tucker. I think they're primed and ready this year to really make another run at the Golden State Warriors, but only if they're healthy.
So I find this interesting because you are the one, and correct me if I'm wrong, you always say that a championship team needs a great two-way wing, great point guard, which OKC has.
Yeah, OKC has that. I think Houston has that also. So, and they have great role players, I believe. Clint Capella, he could have made the All-Star team this year if healthy. He was borderline the numbers he was putting up. Not saying that he would have, but any other given year, he probably could have made the All-Star team. And I thought he was playing at a high level before he got injured.
See, the thing for me is James Harden, where's his conditioning going to be when the playoffs come? You talked about him carrying the load so very much throughout the regular season. And he's had some bizarre endings to a few of his seasons.
Talk about it, Jalen.
At the Warriors, 13 turnovers. I don't know if it was a little B curse or not. Against San Antonio, where he just literally was disengaged. And lastly, can Chris Paul stay healthy? When the Clippers needed him and Houston needed him, unfortunately.
The thing is, too, what has OK done, Westbrook and George done to convince you that they're going to be better than what James Harden's done in the playoffs?
I think because Paul George has now taken that leap and Russ passed the mantle to him and allowed him to flourish.
When you hang your hat on the defensive end, you always have a chance, Paul. You know that. You played on some great teams, won a championship because, you know, y'all had great offense, but the defense is what held y'all down. So that's why OKC, I think, is dangerous. But over a 2-week period, 7-game series, you can game plan for so many different things. And I just feel like OKC right now, until Houston shows me that their defense has gotten a tremendous amount better.
Tremendous amount, okay. All right, well, we touched on Paul George at the bottom of the hour. He and his top-ranked points per touch. Nerd stat. Face the Rockets. Sounds like he's having a pretty good season, but we want to hear from him in our Straight Talk sound bites.
Definitely the best I played. The best I felt, I would take the 22-year-old PG. The way my body and you know, movement, quickness, everything, I'll take that PG. But as far as up here, this is the best I felt. mentally, just seeing everything develop. Even some games when I'm not in rhythm, I always can like tone it back and find a way to get myself back in rhythm, where I struggled with that early in my career.
And once teammates, James Harden and Russell Westbrook are now superstars for rival squads. Coming up, could they have been even better if they had remained together? Next. Is greater than the sum of its parts. Aristotle, old Greek dude, never heard of Oklahoma City. But if he had, the idea of breaking up superstars James Harden and Russell Westbrook would have led them to careers of mediocrity. But alas, nothing could be farther from the result. So with apologies to all Greek philosophers everywhere, Scoop Jackson takes a look at why sometimes you just don't need to keep the band together.
Oh, how we love to dream. How we love to paint pictures in our minds of what could have been. Even when the current what is way better than anything we could have imagined. Here goes the beer with that left hand throw down! They started out together. You remember? Both straight out of Cali, 1 year apart.
Just going there and helping, those guys out, like Kevin Durant and Russell, it's going to be a great honor.
Two parts of a Big Three dynasty that never came to be. The Harden and Russ that kicked it in those same Thunder Blue unis back in 2012 were never supposed to evolve to this.
Flying to the cup two-hand rim rocker.
For them, this level was off limits.
James Harden is good.
To be the league's reigning back-to-back MVPs, let alone to become two of the best and most unique players the game has ever seen? Never. They were never supposed to turn up like this.
Elevates it, throws down, step back three. Harden connects, Ramos screams, another triple-double. Harden pulls back, good!
But they did. Both came from under that KD shadow. One said, why not? The other told you, I'm gonna be a star.
61! Triple-double.
Dreams conquered. Yes, there is a small part of us that wishes they were still together. But we all know that Russell Westbrook and James Harden would have never gotten to this sacred place had things remained the same. That's facts. Still, we can dream. Can't we?
We can. So they've been rivals for 7 seasons now. Both have had nearly identical results year after year. They've both been named to 5 All-NBA teams. Both have 4 top 5 MVP finishes. And Westbrook, of course, won in 2017. Harden in 2018. Jalen, is there a world in which you could envision these guys on the same team succeeding?
Absolutely not, because when they were young players, they both were gravitating to try to figure out if they could be the best player on their team. And both of those guys went on to be MVPs in their own right. And so for James, he's led the league in points 3 times, Russ once. James once in assists, Russ twice in assists. But here's my favorite, usage. Harden has led the league in usage, meaning the time he dominates the ball, the last 2 seasons. Russ, who also dominates the ball, Mr. Big Shot, and is averaging another triple-double, has led the league in usage twice. It's not enough basketballs for both of those guys.
Wait, hold on, because I wanted you to be GM guy, right? So you're Sam Presti. You had at one point on your roster Westbrook, Durant, Harden, and Serge Ibaka. Now, obviously, you couldn't control KD's decision.
Yeah.
Are you satisfied that you held on to the right guy?
No. I'm not satisfied. I mean, listen, so basically what you're asking me is this. Am I satisfied that I kept Serge Ibaka over James Harden? No, I'm not. This guy went on to become the MVP of the league and one of the best offensive players maybe to ever lace him up. I would have had to try to work that one out. But hindsight is 20/20.
Sure, yeah.
And I do agree with Jalen. They wouldn't have both reached their potential together, but maybe a small sample size together, learning how to play with one another, with all the talent that these guys in Golden State has, maybe gives them opportunity to win.
Man, listen, have you thought of a singing group that broke up that's been this successful?
The Jackson 5.
The Jackson 5, not at this level. Not at this level.
Well, one guy becomes successful.
Michael Jackson, you got all 3 guys becoming great, becoming all-time players. And the big question is, what if? I would have held on to Harden. I'm more biased.
Would have, all right.
I'm more biased to my wing guys, and I believe you need that dynamic wing to win a championship. But it's been unbelievable, and I appreciate greatness and watching them flourish on their separate teams. Durant being the lead, winning the championships. These guys coming through the way they're coming through with MVPs, putting historic seasons together. I'm just a fan of watching this, and I love what Harden. I'm going to be biased to Harden.
That's fine.
Because he's a perimeter player, and I'm more biased toward perimeter guys that you need to win a championship.
How good is Sam Presti at his job?
Oh man, he can eye some talent.
Man, and then replace KD with Paul George.
It's
done an amazing
I'm thinking
job.
about bands that broke up and everyone made it. All right,
Like the bands that broke up. None has been more successful than this trio.
NBA Sunday Showcase.
But I seen somebody leave the band and go get another championship.
Presented by Mountain Dew Ice. LeBron, Lakers, Joel Embiid. Oh, and Tobias Harris. That
Ray Allen.
Coverage begins NBA Countdown at 3. And also on the app.
I would have liked to see NBA.
Once again, celebrating
There you go.
Chinese.
Oh, here's the answer.
NWA.
Wu-Tang Clan is the answer.
I would have liked to
No,
see
there are
them
more
stick
answers
together.
than that. Here we go. Our cool display. That's it.
That means they all got to break up and go platinum.
The pig. I'm really glad these important words are getting heard, you guys. Speaking of celebrating Rockets, Kenneth Fareed. Yeah, little resurgence there. We're going to get a little specific about that next.
Method Man, Ray.
There's a call. There's like
ODB.
Everyone, we got even more basketball for you right out of the gate. Handsomely paid players and a really good test post-trade deadline for the 76ers.
Even the Ivy League kids don't know to hit it off the rim. You'd think the smartest guys in college basketball.
He maybe just missed.
That's true. That's true. You mentioned the test. That was the Sixers taking on the Nuggets. It's the new-look Sixers, but the Nuggets were better in every statistical category, including the one that counts, wins. First game for Tobias Harris, but check this out, Kenny. Pre-game, they get confused and put Robert Covington's name on the court during Harris's introduction. They both wore 33. Kind of have to get that right with the way they're hyping this kid.
That's worse than me blowing Stefanini, okay? These guys.
You rebounded, though, literally and figuratively. Back the other way. How about the first basket for this kid? There he is. He's averaging a career high in points as Tobias Harris, and that's his first point as a member of the Sixers. He was really dangerous. Tim Legler said on SportsCenter to me the other night, the Sixers have the second best starting five in the East, and certainly one of the best starting fives in all of basketball. The only team in the NBA with 5 guys averaging 17 plus, and that counts the newly acquired Tobias Harris. I mentioned at the top of the show, Harris may be new, but it's an old reliable, as in J.J. Redick, that saved this game for the Sixers. Both teams had come in on a 2-game losing streak. Sixers hadn't played since Tuesday, and Redick was just terrific. Elton Brand said they came out so poorly against the Raptors, he had to make a move, find the kid in the corner when you draw 4 guys. 34, a season high, 6 triples, the most he's had in a game with the Sixers. In the fourth, it's still just a 1-point game. Harris, hesitation, no hesitation. Got it. He wasn't an all-star, Kenny, this year. He was snubbed out west, looking to take it out on the rest of the East. The Western team tonight. There's Jokic, came off a triple-double earlier in the week. Here we go, under 5 to play. Tight game, nice dish. Plumlee on the finish off the pass from Jokic, under 2 minutes to go. Sixers up 4. Simmons! Elton also said with the way Simmons and Embiid are playing, we had to go for it now, which is why I went for Tobias Harris. Embiid with the block on Beasley. And then, how often do you see it, Kenny? Big defense on one end, offense on the other.
Never happened.
That dude's 7 feet. I can shoot like that. Embiid, big basket, 4 blocks, Sixers win. Brett Brown's got a whole new crew.
You could see why people, think he's an all-star. And I think that his personality and his intellect, his basketball intellect stands out. I thought he had some tough defensive plays down the stretch as well. Like, he really, to me, has a physicality that might not, look from his body like Jimmy looks, but gosh, he had some tough plays down the stretch.
In all seriousness, you couldn't ask for any better. To come out and play a game like that, to get that type of reaction from the fans, that meant a whole lot to me. To beat a very good team, regardless, they've been a little banged up with injury, but coming from the West Coast, that team is no joke. And that was a good game for us, and we got great efforts from a lot of guys tonight. JJ came out firing, and we just were rolling from there. But it was, me personally, I'm just sitting here like, wow, like, it was fun.
So there he is, his first game as a member of the Sixers. By the way, Scott Van Pelt coming up at the top of the hour is going to speak one-on-one with Tobias Harris. So if you're a Sixer fan, stay tuned for that. Take a look at this. They got him into the groove right away. First game jitters, not by screen. Tobias Harris fitting in quite nicely. 1-0 with their new starting five.
All right, Bucks have the best record in the league on the road here against sub-500 Dallas. Mavs got to deal with that guy, Giannis Antetokounmpo, just dog-walking people down deep, doing what he wants. At 16 on 7-11 field goals in the first half, 8 rebounds, doing math against the Mavericks early. Still going to town. He's tall. All right, we get it. Giannis was doing things in the first half. We have stipulated that by now. Third quarter, Bucks up big. Luka Doncic throws it away to Malcolm Brogdon. And Brogdon, fancy, Bledsoe, Brogdon. That's a good bucket. Bucks up by 20, sharing the ball. Teamwork makes the dream work. From Jamal Crawford. Bledsoe using the screen. Giannis. That's too easy. Bucks up by 22. 8 minutes to go in the quarter. Bucks up 16. Make that 18. Giannis, make it 20. All right, another look. Giannis might have pushed off.
Star call.
Let it go. Mavs down. Close the game now. It's 99-86. Doncic, light at 3. Mavs down just 10. Next possession for the Mavs. Doncic, the rookie, good as advertised.
Wow. Wow.
And 1. After the made free throw, it's a 7-point game. He finished with 20, but too much of this guy. Goodness gracious. Giannis goes for 29, 17 rebounds. Said they got the best record in the league going in. They still do. The Bucks began the night, 1.5-game lead over the Raptors for the top seed in the Eastern Conference. ESPN's Power Index loving the Bucks. 88% chance to keep that 1 seed. 76ers most likely would be seeded 5th, which would also be about the same spot they began the night in.
Kenny, those two have a decent gap between them. The bigger gap here would be only 28.5 games separating the Warriors and the Suns. This is Klay Thompson's 29th birthday, by the way. Happy birthday, Klay. 2, easy. And then off the pass, Bridges, though, Phoenix, Kenny, is coming into this game having lost a dozen in a row. But they're playing tight. They're hanging with the Warriors, who are looking for 11 straight on the road, which would be the best in the NBA this season. And they're getting all they want from Phoenix. Oubre with the drive. Here come the Warriors trying to mount a comeback. Iggy, Cousins, flush. As soon as he gets more comfortable, you never know what this team's capable of. But here we are late in the game, Kenny, tied at 94. Livingston there to finish. And then Curry, you said Curry would be in the highlight. You were proven correct. It's all Warriors. They're about to sew this thing up.
Pelicans and the T-Wolves. T-Wolves down 2 as we go to late action. No, we go to second quarter action. We go to Karl Anthony Towns. Just nobody wanted him. Drained at 3. Anthony Davis compelled to play. The league said they'd fine this team $100,000 if they don't play him when he should be playing, and he did well. Isaiah Canaan. A lot of people called him Cannon previously, but he's gone to Canaan now. A minute ago, Pelicans worked around, and Anthony Davis did work tonight. They didn't have to force him to play. Putting up some numbers. Pelicans lead by 9.